In real estate, the process is guided by two equally important forces: the clients pursuing their dream and the agents working to make those dreams a reality. Every transaction has a chronicle. These are their stories.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us again. This is episode 5. Can you believe it? Episode 5?
Ooh, go Angie.
Realtors and Reality Unfiltered. Thank you guys for tuning in. You have been a pleasure to do this for. We have a special guest today. Now, when I tell you, I have worked with her. She has been awesome. And it's hard to get her because she's so busy. And look, she travels so much. She is everywhere. But I am so glad she's etched out some time for me to come and join us today. Now, look, you're going to have to follow her. We're going to put all that stuff when I get ready to post it. But you're going to have to follow her because you will be highly entertained and highly informed.
Yes, indeed.
So we have Miss Q Walton here today.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Angie, for having me.
Of course.
I appreciate it. Yes, everyone. I'm Q Walton, Atlanta native, a DJing realtor. Please follow me on Instagram. It's Walton_realty. But yeah, I hail from Atlanta, Georgia. I love sharing good energy. I love creating good vibes. I'm a people's person. You can probably tell already. But yeah, I've worked with Angela on one transaction, but we have collaborated on other things, and it's been truly phenomenal.
It's been amazing. I mean, so we connected. We didn't even meet each other. But we didn't even meet each other
after closing.
It worked out where we could not meet at the closing. Our clients had different schedules, so we couldn't meet at the closing table. So the first time we met was after closing, but it was like we were already friends immediately. Right.
For sure.
So it was awesome.
For sure.
So we've stayed in contact. We've talked about different
years
things.
later.
Right.
Yeah.
I just sent my client, I think, like the 2-year anniversary mark. So years later, we stayed in contact. We follow each other, and like I said, you all are in for a treat because today, look, every episode I tell you to have a seat because you're gonna need some wine or something to see about this one. It remains true because today our topic is the red flag that saved my client thousands. Okay. Now we're in the business to sell things, but we want to make sure our clients get the best deal possible.
That's right.
That is what we're here to do. That is why you need a realtor that knows what the heck they're doing. They know their job in and out, and they are not against making sure that you come out on the win because it's not about just what their commission check looks like. Right. They know it's about relationships, not the transaction, just that. Now we're going to go ahead and get started because, I'm sure everybody is on the edge of their seat because they want to know what's going on. So tell us a little bit about your client and the backstory so we can set the mood for the atmosphere of everything.
So I recently had a client, first-time buyer, that was adamant about wanting a 3-story townhome within the city limits of Atlanta. Well, if you know Atlanta real estate, that 3-story townhome is over $500,000. So you're talking about a transaction over $500,000. You want to make sure that everything is pristine. Everything, every T is crossed, every I is dotted, right? With this particular property, this was not a production builder. The difference in a production builder and a private builder is a private builder will find some land and they will just, build a property and they will go ahead and sell it. A production builder like your D.R. Hortons, your Pulte.
Exactly. They have the floor plans, you pick what they offer, things like that.
Exactly. So with this particular property, once I'm reading through the contract, and I read all of my clients' contract because I have 3 pillars that I stand on in a transaction. I'm going to protect you. I'm going to make sure it's as seamless as possible, and I'm going to educate you through it. So reading through his contract, I noticed there was no appraisal contingency.
Okay, hold on. Wait. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, an appraisal contingency is essential. Like we talked about on our last episode, which was about appraisals, that is for your protection, buyer and seller, okay? But mainly the buyer because a lender is not going to loan on a property where it is being sold for more than the value, the appraised value.
Exactly.
If it comes in low, the appraisal comes in low, you either have to drop the price down to that amount or the buyer has to bring in cash money to cover the difference. Right. Okay, so keep that in mind. Just store that in the back of the remnants of your brain. Keep that in mind because I'm sure that's going to play a big part in this. So that's what caught your attention. So what first caught your attention about the property, of course, was because it fit everything he was looking for.
Exactly.
But ding, 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 here comes the contract, and it's missing an essential part.
Exactly. And so what I had to do is explain to my client, I know that you love this property,
Mhm.
but here's the thing. If we put in this offer and it doesn't appraise for the value, you have to come to the table with the difference.
Mhm. Mhm.
If we put in a appraisal contingency, we have the opportunity to negotiate it back down to that appraised value price, or we can walk away from this contract with our earnest money.
Mhm.
He understood that fully. I wrote in a special SIP to that on-site agent. The on-site agent said, absolutely, we could put that in.
Right.
And my first thought is,
Why is it not
in
there?
Right? Like, why
mean,
would
like-
you do this to people?
Right. I mean, we have so in Georgia, we have a standard, as most states do. We have a standard contract, Georgia Association of Realtors contract. Okay. But then there are other versions, and most builders have their own version.
Right.
So if your agent is not reading the builder's version,
Mhm.
the guard contract is what we call ours, is boilerplate. We are all trained on that.
That's
You know,
right.
every year those classes are offered. But when it comes to builder contracts, and even sometimes when you have foreclosures, things like that, they have their own, addendum or things like that. But when it comes to a builder's contract, you have to read that
You do.
line by line to see what's in there, because it is not standard.
It's not.
It is
not.
It is
They can
honestly catered toward them.
things
Yes, they can.
that they want to.
They can add in
They
things
can add in things
like first right of refusal.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, but look, that's a whole other look. That's another episode
For another day.
Right, for another day. We're gonna come back to that later on.
But the biggest thing, like Ms. Angela said, is Georgia is a buyer beware state,
Correct.
right? So you want to make sure that you're reading through the contract. My experience as his agent is I'm going to make sure that everything is combed through with a fine tooth comb.
Right.
And finding that, I said, this is the reason why you have to advocate for these first-time home buyers
Right.
to have representation.
Yes.
Had he walked in there
By
by
himself.
himself, he would have signed this contract.
Right.
No real information, no real wherewithal on how to get himself out of that situation.
Mhm.
And I want to say I saved him, if I'm not mistaken, it was $24,000 on the front end and also got him $15,000 in closing on the back end. What they told him initially is that he could get the $15,000 with their preferred lender.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
That wasn't necessarily the case. If you can fight,
Yes.
fight.
Yes.
And that's what everybody knows me to do. They know that I'm going to fight for
Yes.
the very best, because just like she said, people are going to forget what you said, they'll
Mhm.
forget what you did.
if it ain't in
They'll
writing, it
never-
don't exist.
Exactly. They'll never forget how you make them feel. And
Mhm.
so having someone to advocate for you and safeguard you in a position where you don't necessarily know anything. We
Right.
work in this day in, day out.
Right.
This is our area of expertise.
Mhm.
Yes, I DJ on the side, but this is my main focus day in, day out. And so to have that kind of win for a first time home buyer that's under 25, I just thought like that was something that definitely needs to be told. Because
Absolutely.
It happens.
It happens.
It happens.
And the thing is this: so when you have the appraisal, so here, the timeline is like this. So you're under contract. They've agreed to adding the appraisal contingency in.
Mhm.
You guys are under contract. You had your inspections. Y'all are trucking along, and let's just say the appraisal comes in low. Okay, if there was nothing in there to protect him,
Mhm.
he could have lost his thousands of dollars of earnest money.
$15,000 for earnest money.
Who got time to lose $15,000? Because I don't. I can think of a lot of things I can do with $15,000 other than giving it to somebody for free. No. So $15,000 was at risk just because there was a missing stipulation in there
Correct.
that protected him from, in the case of an appraisal deficiency.
Right.
And that is where, like we said before, an efficient, experienced agent comes into play.
Right.
That saved him thousands of dollars, lots of headache and heartache,
Yeah.
possibly the inability to move forward on another property because you're now $15,000 out of your income.
That's right.
You know, so the money that he had saved and stacked to be able to buy what he wanted, because as a young person, 25, buying in the city of Atlanta,
Mhm.
$500,000+ property,
Right.
you had to save money to be able to do that. Make sure
That's
your
right.
credit score is good. I mean, those are things that you worked on. You just didn't wake up on a Sunday and be like, you know what?
I'm gonna go buy a house.
A $500,000 house on
No.
top of that. No, you
Right.
you had plans, you had things that you wanted to do, and you set those things in motion. And having the right person to make sure that they protected those plans, those things, because they hadn't worked together on another deal before.
No, this is first time.
First time.
He
first
was a
time home buyer.
referral from another friend.
Right.
Yeah.
So first time home buyer, her experience with his friend made sure that, it stuck with them. So they referred him, and here she is protecting him.
Yeah.
And this is their first, it's not like she has a rapport. If she was just a transaction person, she would have been like, it is what it
I've
is.
seen those agents too, y'all.
Yeah.
I've seen those agents. Yeah.
Don't get me started. Look, 22 years in this thing, I done seen a lot of them. And I've also seen a lot of them come and go.
Go, yeah,
So the go
yeah.
part was always great for me. Okay, so with this thing, so your client, you know, we have the question of, okay, so what did the buyer ultimately decide to do? And of course, your buyer ultimately decided to listen to you.
Yes.
And say, okay, we're going to put this in there. And should they decide not to agree to these terms, we're backing out.
Exactly.
Right.
That
so
is exactly the case.
that you have to be able to have enough faith in your agent
right.
that if they give you a concern, they come to you with a concern and they say, hey, look, I noticed this. Even when it's put to of you just looking at the house.
Yeah.
If you're still touring houses or something, before you even go on a contract and they say, hey, I noticed this on the foundation, or I noticed this horizontal and vertical crack on the, in settlement. Now, I noticed these things. Right, that's structural at that point. I've noticed a water stain. This one looks like it's repaired, but this one is light gray, which means it's active. It's not brown. Yep. So, like all of those things, if you're an agent is telling you these things, first off, if you have an agent that you're touring with and they're not noticing, they're just, oh, this is so pretty, that kind of thing.
That's a problem.
Red flag one number one.
That's a problem.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
Two, we're not Debbie Downers, but we want to point out the things that you as a buyer may not be aware of.
Yeah.
So if your agent is not doing that, red flag number two.
To speak to that, I always tell my buyers, although I love selling property and I would love to get your home sold and vice versa, get you into a house, I'm never going to jeopardize my integrity.
Absolutely.
So when we go into this property, I'm looking for cracks, ceiling cracks. I'm looking for water spots. I'm looking for stains. I'm looking to see if the windows are painted shut. I'm looking for these type of things. That way they know exactly what it is that we're looking for while we're touring property.
Absolutely. When you walk across the floor, are you doing a dance?
Dip? Right.
Are you
a dip?
You dip.
You remember that song? You dip, I dip, we dip.
Sure. If the floor does that for us, we're walking out the house. We're not doing that. That's not what we're doing here. Absolutely not.
Oh,
so tell me, what kind of advice would you give buyers, sellers, and even other agents if they're in that type of situation?
For buyers, I always say vet a reputable agent. I tell people to interview at least 3 agents.
Yes.
If someone signs with me during my buyer's consultation, there's a portion of it that says, interview a few agents. You want to make sure that communication styles align. You want to make sure that goals align. You want to make sure that everything suitable works for you, because this could be a transaction that's rather lengthy, or it could be, the next 30 days.
Right.
But as long as you make sure that you guys are the right fit, everything's going to work out.
Right.
So that's my advice for buyers. For sellers, if you're a production builder, have a contract that, I don't want to say that they were being underhanded,
right?
But I just don't feel like they had the best intention for the buyers,
right?
Because
they created it to be in line with what they wanted.
Yeah, and I don't want to say that people. I always want to give the benefit of the doubt. I don't want to say that they were being deceitful or working to be deceptive, but just have something that is well-rounded for all parties.
Right? Fairness. We're not saying give the cow away. We're not saying that. We're just saying just have all the.
That's standard,
right? That's standard. It should be standard. I mean, we have here in Georgia. Like we said before, we have standardized contracts. Yeah. Why not? In some way, form, or fashion, mimic those as much as possible. Of course, you're going to take away and add in what you need, what's necessary for your business and everything. But those standard things like the financing contingency, appraisal contingency, due diligence, all of those things are pretty standard, not just in Georgia, across many states.
Yeah, nationwide.
Right. So having those 3 pillars, like you were talking about before, having those 3 pillars in there would be something that people would consider fair.
Yeah.
And the fact that you were willing to add that to the contract, you already knew it was missing.
Yeah.
Because you already,
most builders do, they push back. Oh no, this is standard.
Right.
But yeah, I agree.
Right.
There was
knew it was missing. There was no payback. There was no pushback. Right.
Yeah.
So you knew it was missing. But like before, we don't name any names.
Right.
We keep it all PC, because we want to make sure that we are expressing that it can happen to anyone.
That's true.
It can happen to anyone. And we want to make sure that our clients know that we are in this game to protect them.
Always.
It is not about, walking away with a fat check and just and showing it on Instagram like, hey, I did this. No, it is about when you have when our clients have a new baby and they want to, expand their household, they call us because
Right.
they trusted us. We walked through them. We held
That's
their
right.
hand through it. And it is a lifetime journey. I've had clients that I've worked with, sold 4 or 5 homes, and they will never go with anyone else. Thank God. It's not just because of, I was able to give them a good deal or anything like that, but it's because they become family.
That's true.
They
That's
become
so true.
family. I see them in the grocery store, when I'm going out to eat. Hey, Angela,
Yeah.
we can be I remember one time me and my husband were out on our date night, and across the room was like, hey, I was like, hey, girl, how you doing? How's the house? But
You
that's,
become family.
you become family.
You even become a strategic partner, right? Like I have clients call me, Q, where's the concert?
Right.
Q, where's it? Hey, where should I go and eat? And it's like,
Right.
you trusted me with your home. And now
Right.
you're asking me for advice for like food
Yes.
and your entertainment.
I'm
so invested.
Right. We are invested. I have a client who just sent me their registry for their baby.
See?
Like they found out a
become
week after
family.
they closed that they were pregnant with their second child. And I was like, oh, yay. And so they sent me the registry, and I was like, okay, so where's the stuff on the registry for you at? I mean, I see the baby stuff, but where's the stuff for you guys and for the soon-to-be big sister? Like, everybody needs to get something. Everybody gets something.
See?
But that's how it's supposed to be.
I agree.
That is how it's supposed to be. There's going to be red flags, as we have seen in all of our episodes, including today. There's going to be red flags, but a truly invested agent knows how to overcome those red flags.
That's right.
Because in life, the only thing that is consistent is change. That's
it.
The only thing that's consistent.
And something else that I lead with, because real estate transactions are turbulent.
Yeah, honey.
It happens.
Honey.
I have yet to see one that's just smooth sailing from beginning to end.
With nothing.
It's part of the process, so please don't stray away from it because turbulence happens.
Right.
But that's why we're here to guide you through it.
Exactly. That's what we're here for. So I thank you so much.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Oh, this is so fun. Look, I am enjoying these interviews because I'm learning so much, because at the end of the day, all of us have been in this at different times in real estate. We have different clients and have had different experiences. And I'm learning, like, we all have to be, we were talking about earlier, we all have to be quick on our feet. Like there is no blueprint. There is no instruction manual. There is nothing that says, this is how the transaction has to go. You have to stick by it. I mean, you have to learn as you go a lot of times.
You do. And you learn things in every single transaction.
Absolutely.
I pick up something from every transaction.
Every one of them.
And she sold millions. I've sold millions.
Right.
Like, it's not that we're inexperienced. It's just everything
is different.
Is different.
Everything is different. No file is exactly the same. No property is exactly the same.
No client.
No client. Right. None of that is exactly the same. So again, I thank you.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Of course. All right, y'all guys. So remember, you're going to have to like, subscribe, follow, do all those things for my page and for Q's page.
Yes.
We are both social. So make sure that you follow us. We love coming here to give you guys these details because it is essential. The fact of the matter is, real estate sometimes is pretty, but most times it's ugly. Okay. So we're going to get it done. The job is going to get done. She closed on that deal. She has a client that is very, very happy. And at the end of the day, she got it done because she didn't let the red flag stop her in the process.
That's right. No.
The goal was to get her client the best deal for the best house that they had, and she got it done. Love you guys. We'll talk to you soon.
Later, guys.
See you next time. Bye.